Hello, everyone, and welcome to the first episode of Fireside Conversations with Fairy Minds, a show where we, have conversations with amazing people. I hope you guys are doing fine and taking good care of yourself and everyone around you. Today, we have with us someone who I'm sure has played a role in some of your life experiences. Most of you, correction. I think all of you would have experienced Magento in your life, either as a store owner, a developer, very closely in those cases, or as a shopper. You must have visited a good amount of Magento stores without maybe even realizing. Today we have with us Magento Master Brent Peterson. Brent is the co-founder of Magento, a leading global e-commerce solution provider, a Magento master and an Adobe insider, and the list goes on and on. I think Brent is what a perfect bridge between merchants and developers looks like. Hello, Brent. Really excited to have you with us today. How are you doing?
I'm great. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me.
I'm really excited to have you over here. And there are a couple of things today that we'll talk about, and including the new and I would say the industry changing initiative that you're a part of. And I'm sure most of the interviews you do start with the question, how do you get started? How did you get started with Magento? So I will not bore you with those questions and we'll take a step back. So how were you at school? Always an enterprising kid?
Uh, yeah, I guess I was self-employed when I was very young. I had a paper route in the U.S. We can deliver newspapers, and we're seen as independent contractors. So I guess from 9 years old, I was self-employed.
Oh, wow. And from working at that paper vendor, where and how did your fascination for technology started?
I've always been interested in technology, and I don't want to reveal my age, but I grew up before the internet,
Okay.
and certainly I was interested in audio and anything technical.
Hmm.
I know that at some point I had so many wires running through my room that my mom convinced my uncle to help me build a little relay box, so it would be low voltage switching on and off before we had wireless technology, things like that.
Okay. I remember reading something about computer business that you started overseas. I think
Sure, yeah. So I always had a dream to live in Ireland, and we opened a
okay.
business up in Ireland in the mid 90s, like 1996.
Hmm.
And my wife and I lived there for just a very short time and realized that maybe the weather wasn't as great as everybody says it is in Ireland, and it does rain a lot. And so
Okay.
um, that was our foray overseas. But
Okay.
we did operate for more than 3 or 4 years in Ireland.
Okay. And coming to the usual Magento question, then how did that come into picture?
I think in the 90s I had a business that we sold computer hardware, and a lot of the bigger companies were starting to be very competitive in the computer hardware business.
Okay.
So I decided that I would look at doing software development rather than computer hardware, and went off on my own and just started doing development. Had a client that did some brewing supplies and did a back-end system in .NET with them. And one day he came and said, "We found this new technology that is free. It's called Magento. It's a shopping cart. We'd like to do that. You can either decide to you can learn it or you can not and go find a new job." So I decided to learn it, and I think by April of 2009, I had asked so many questions on the Magento forums that Magento had invited me to become a forum moderator. And that's when I met Sherry and Vinay Kopp and all the people that are still active in the Magento community. And I think then I was invited to the first Magento Imagine at that, or after that, and yeah, it just went from there. I dove in head first into Magento code and produced some very poor modules, and um,
Well, the
anyways, yeah.
world is using all the modules that you produce. So I'm sure like a lot of people would have thanked you for all of those answers specifically. I've been a developer myself, and I whenever I'm stuck somewhere, and I look through forums and find something, that person becomes a god for me. Because you've been trying to scratch your head with that problem for so long, and here you find someone who's already gone through that and found the solution and given you the solution over there. You just thank them from bottom of your heart. So from getting into falling in love and becoming an evangelist, you told me that if you answered questions on Magento forum, and then you were invited to become a moderator on the forum. What made you stick with Magento with all the new technologies, all the new stacks coming up every day? What made you stick with Magento?
I think to be good at anything, you need to be good at something, and to be good at something, you need to really concentrate at being good at that one thing. So certainly there is a lot of business for Magento and Magento 2, and our team has grown around this business, and we've made a commitment to learning and staying with Magento.
Wow, that's great. That's very close to the 10,000 hour principle, that to be great at anything, you need to do it at least for 10,000 hours. And one thing about Magento that I personally like has been always the community. As you were a part of the community, moderating the community, what are your take on the community when it comes to Magento?
The community is really what makes Magento. It makes it strong and vibrant, and certainly meeting people from across the globe in India, in Germany, and the UK and the US has made it has made it an experience that has allowed us to grow and flourish as a team, and for myself personally to grow as a person and learn about culture and everything else that's outside of what Magento does in itself. It's created a space that has allowed me to meet more people, allowed me to travel to India for the last 4 years. It's been the catalyst for growth, both from a personal and a business standpoint.
And Magento has an office in Ahmedabad in India, right?
Correct.
Amazing. How do you like the food over there?
Yeah, the food is great. In Ahmedabad, I think they use a lot of sugar, so
Yeah.
and there's no meat and no beer, so we drink a lot of Heineken 0.0 and eat a lot of veg food. It's good.
There's a night market in Ahmedabad. It goes by the name of Manik. So that's a night market, and it's up all night, and you just get street food over there. Have you been to that night street food market?
I've only been during the daytime. I have not been at
Okay.
night. Yeah.
Okay. The next time you're here, I think that is something that you should go to, and you'll love it. You'll forget. You'll fall in love with veg over there.
Yeah.
And talking about the community, almost whole of the community these days is talking about Magento end of life and Magento 2. So what are your thoughts around it?
So it is important that merchants move to Magento 2, and that the reason for end of life is around technology that underlies Magento 1. So certain versions of PHP and how the code can interact with those versions has made the maintenance of that code very expensive, and it will only get to be more expensive as the underlying technologies that help run Magento need to move forward, especially from a security standpoint. So I would encourage users to go to Magento 2 as soon as possible. I know there's a number of initiatives to maintain the Magento 1 code and to keep up on security. So I think Mage 1 in Germany is one of those initiatives that we're part of. So there is a way that you can stay on Magento 1 over a longer period of time, but the path of least resistance in the future will be to go to Magento 2.
Great. And from Magento to becoming this e-commerce evangelist that you're now, and the main initiative that we wanted to talk about, being offline to online. What brought you with this initiative? How did the initiative get started? How are you involved with this?
There was a couple of people, Karen Baker and another person that started this initiative originally. Um, and this is meant to help. Um, it is meant to help small businesses. Kelly Vaughn, I believe, was the other person. It is meant to help small businesses who don't have a strong web presence or don't have a web presence to find help from professionals who are willing to donate their time to make their website more visible to the broader world through either getting a store online quickly using Magento, BigCommerce, Shopify, and there's a number of other platforms on there now, or getting marketing help for their store to make their store more visible through efforts that a marketing company could help with.
So merchant can expect anything ranging from marketing of his existing store, or from scratch creating a new store, getting up online, and then spreading it around the world, like marketing it around the world. So any kind of help that a merchant or all merchant can think of is something that people over there, good souls over there, are readily available to provide.
Yeah, so I would encourage merchants. There's an intake form that you can fill out as a merchant, and you will
Okay.
be matched up with a vendor, an agency who can help you. The
Okay.
expectation that agency would help for no cost in the beginning to get that merchant to achieve some goals that would help them either move online or do better online than they were doing previous to the COVID-19 outbreak.
Okay. And if you could give out the URL, I'll also give that URL in the description. If you could just tell the URL that the merchants can go and visit and check it out.
Sure, it's offline2on.com. Offline, the number 2, on.com is the URL that merchants can go to. And there's a, if you're an agency, you can sign up under the agency section. And if you're a merchant, you can sign up under the merchant section.
Great. So now all of you know that how you can, either as a merchant or as an agency, as a help seeker or as a help giver, can join this initiative. I'll also give the link in description, and the URL, as Brent mentioned, is offline to as in the numeric 2 on.com. Uh, I had one more question that I think a lot of merchants would have. I'm sure that together we'll beat this virus down and come out of it stronger. So, how do you see the prospects of these new online stores post all of this is over? As a merchant, it adds to their cost, right?
As a merchant, it would enhance what they're doing. And as a merchant, if you were to open up another retail store, you are going to pay rent at that store. And I can guarantee all the physical things that you need for a new store are going to be more than you would ever need for an online store. I would say that any merchant should already have a website. So I would disagree adding to the cost. You would not necessarily have to add to your cost. If you are, the initiative gives you the opportunity to get professionals to help you to enhance what you already have. And it would also give you the opportunity to launch something at no cost. And the hope is by the time that some costs are incurred, so for example, Magento, there's many hosting companies that are offering 3 to 6 months of free hosting, or I know that BigCommerce is offering at least 3 months of free support or free service. By the time that you would have to pay something, and I think it's $25 a month or something like that, you would see a benefit from your store online, meaning that you would have more than $25 in profit per month from your online business.
Amazing.
So I would disagree that there would be no added cost.
Hmm, hmm. I believe that online is the way to go. Personally, we have seen, especially in India, we've seen people get online and have that crazy amount of growth that everyone talks about. And congratulations once again for this great initiative. I personally feel that this is going to help a good number of people. I hope that it helps a lot of people. And especially even after this, one thing that I feel with the lockdown is that consumer patterns would also change. So as a consumer, I may not even want to go out to the physical store and buy when I can very well get it within like the comfort of my own home. And one thing which I don't want to miss while we're talking is the Big Dam Run. When I came across it, I was really fascinated. I just like the idea of it. And if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, everyone watching us, if you don't know what I'm talking about, I'll drop a link in the description. Go check it out. It's basically an annual marathon that Magento organizes, and I just love the idea of it. Why? My question is, why did that start, and how did that start? Why being more important over here?
Sure. So the my partner in Wagento came to the first, or the she has always attended Magento Imagine, and the second Magento Imagine was in Las Vegas. And in order for me to convince her to come to Las Vegas, she insisted that we do some sort of a run, and that we would participate or invite the Magento community to this run as well. So we joined a run called the Labor of Love Marathon in the desert in Las Vegas, and I think we had about 25 or 30 people from the Magento community join us,
Okay.
and we had a fantastic time. We had some Canadians that didn't bring enough water because they're not used to the desert. They're only used to snow and ice in Canada. That's a small joke. And so we did that every year. And I think in 2016, after eBay sold the Magento, we had a very strong initiative to organize it on our own. So in 2016, we organized the run independently without joining another race. So meaning we organized and did the race on our own, and we did it at the Hoover Dam. So in this, we had a huge surge. I think that year we had 85 or 90 people show up, and every year since we've grown to now more than 200 people that I guess in 2019 would have shown up, but certainly we had I think nearly 200 people that went in 2018. So it has been a great initiative. I think we will always encourage people to exercise. I know in India, especially, now the running community has grown. I'm part of the Ahmedabad long distance running community. I met some great people when I did the Ahmedabad half marathon, and the Mumbai half marathon in January.
Okay.
I met Captain Singh, who had only one leg and lost it in a war I think in the 90s. And it was just so inspirational to be with, I think in Mumbai there was something like 20 or 30,000 people that come to the race, and it is such a great experience to participate in those type of events with so many other runners and find some common time to not sit at a desk and do coding, but rather get outside and run and enjoy the weather, and in India, maybe enjoy some of the smoke that's in the air, and enjoy the company of other people. So I know that we also participated in another half marathon in the western part or eastern part of Ahmedabad, Suriname half marathon that was one of the first ones, and it was a fantastic experience with more than 3,000 people joining.
Running in India, like you would have had the Canadian experience with all the heat and humidity.
So yeah, so I guess the races start early, 5:30 a.m.
Yeah.
So you do what you can do. I ran the Mumbai Marathon in 2018, and I met some great people, and it was hot. It was very hot at the end, but we walked and ran the last 6 or 10K of the race together, and it was a great experience. So, I think as a runner, you have to be able to run in all types of environments, and certainly I would rather run when it's minus 20 Celsius and then plus 30 Celsius, but you have to be prepared to run in any environment. And I would never say that because of the heat or because of the humidity or because of the cold, it's going to be a barrier to what I want to do.
The one thing that I love the most about Big Dam specifically, the Big Dam run, is that it hits the stereotypes real hard. Techies and developers are generally thought of as lazy couch potatoes, and this hits all of that out of park. Like a tech company organizing a marathon at a tech conference, like that's just amazing. Was it like part of the plan to just hit the stereotypes out of park?
I don't think it was part of the plan. I think it's part of the underlying culture of Magento developers. And I know that I have a lot of friends that do races and run in Magento, and we have a Strava group club on Strava for Magento specifically that I can share with you later, and you can share the link. So we would always invite people to our Strava group. And I know we are also planning on a virtual run as people are able to at least get outside and exercise a little bit more. So there's a lot of opportunities in our community to make ourselves healthier. And I know, speaking to a lot of people, especially in Ahmedabad, who are in the Ahmedabad Long Distance Running Club, that they realized as professionals, so there's doctors and lawyers and engineers and programmers, they realize that they are becoming a little bit unhealthy because they have some money to buy a lot of food, and they have a lot of food to eat, and they eat the food, and then suddenly they become a little bit overweight, and they may face some health issues. And in this, running is a great outlet to do that, and the community that's around that, if you're in Delhi or in Mumbai or in Ahmedabad or Bengaluru, there's a running community for you to join, and in that community you find people that have common interests, and suddenly you find yourself signed up for a marathon. And I can tell you that I have many friends in India now that are multiple marathon runners, and they look towards November and December when it's a little bit cooler in India, or February when the Delhi Marathon is on, that they can participate in those races. And it's really fun. It's a great time to both explore your community in a setting where at least they close the road, and you don't worry about cars and cattle and motorcycles running you over, but also that you're with lots of other people that have a common goal of just getting to the finish line.
Yeah. And with Magento having offices across the world, I'm sure you get to travel a lot. How many continents have you had a chance to run in?
I was gonna, so I've run in 5 continents now. Africa was going to be my 6th continent in May, but the race that I was entered in was canceled. So I'm hoping to do Africa. I'm still signed up for a marathon in South Africa, but so far I haven't had a chance to join it. So I have Africa and I have Antarctica to participate in a marathon, and I'll have all 7.
Wow. They're like, do they organize a marathon in Antarctica?
Yeah.
Oh wow, that's great. And what's your most funny running story?
I think that certainly, well, when I was in India, I was running along, and I saw one cow come out of a pasture, and I kept running, and all of a sudden another cow came out, and the cow started running faster, and so then the guy came out with a stick and with maybe 10 other cows, and I was running between them, and because I was running, the cows are running, and so I think he was a little upset that I was separating their herd a little bit, but it was in the center of Ahmedabad. It wasn't I was in the country. Anyways, I slowed down, and the cows were able to get back with the herding person. Yeah. I also encountered a lot of dogs in Ahmedabad. and I run. Sometimes I go outside of the city and run. And I've had dogs, maybe packs of dogs that have followed me, so I get a little nervous. But I realize when the sun comes up and suddenly there's people out and they're feeding the dogs, they're all just looking for some food. So they think that I'm going to give them some food. So they follow me for miles and miles.
I think that they like you. They're
Yeah.
all following the physical fitness that you are taking along with you. Uh, and how are you? Like all of us are in the lockdown, we're in the quarantine. How are you managing running in the quarantine? Like, are you a treadmill person?
Well, in Minnesota, that we are allowed to go out to do exercise, and our state has, instead of closing the running paths, they've closed the roads around running areas.
Okay.
So we have a larger space to use to exercise in. So we're very lucky to have the ability to go to, our city is a city of lakes. So we have
Yeah.
lots of water, and around the lakes are roads that they've now closed, and that we've had the opportunity to use all those spaces where a lot of cars may have been in the past, that now there's people that are walking and biking and running.
Amazing. And like, I can't help but ask a few security related questions because that's what we breathe at Astra. Uh, you've been associated with e-commerce for more than a decade now, as you said. What is the craziest hack that you've seen?
I think that Magento 1 has a lot of vulnerabilities, and I think that because of some of those holes, especially maybe if somebody also has WordPress installed, that people are able to get into WordPress and then they're able to write a file to a server that's on the same server, and because of that, clients are able to access their site. So I would tell people that they should always be up to date on their patches, and they should think about, if you have another application like WordPress installed alongside Magento, you should really think about if you need that, and is your WordPress 100% up to date?
WordPress has had that reputation of being a little unsafe, especially with the host of plugins that it has. There's every few days you find some other plugin being exploited, and that leads to we see like cases every few months, a new plugin being exploited, and then that leads to newer and newer security incidents. And we advise all of our customers and all other people to always make sure that all your WordPress backend core and all the plugins are always up to date. And that's a great advice that you also give right away. And you can choose not to answer this one, but what's the weakest password that you've ever set?
Test 1 2 3 4 is definitely, or just password.
Not for a demo site.
Oh, for it, I have no idea, but I think lots of people just use password.
Yeah.
So password 1 2 3 is a horrible password to use. And I've been giving a talk with a colleague of mine, Derek Harlick from the UK. Mm-hmm. And some of the simple things, like always making sure that you just don't have /admin for your admin access, and don't use the username admin and the password admin, or the password are just great things to have in terms of making sure that you're secure. Magento 2 gives you a default URL that's not just admin, so I think out of the box Magento 2 is a little bit better for that. And we do have a program at Wagento that helps clients to not worry about their security patches, where we would just apply those security patches automatically. We call it no hassle updates. So it gives you a SaaS-like platform where you don't worry about your upgrades or upgrades or security patches at all. We would cover all of those as default.
I think that's the biggest worry taken off from a Magento merchant, because patches is something that Magento merchants kind of dread. They just like kind of hate patches. Great. Thank you, Brent. That's all I had for this episode. It was great talking to you, listening over to your running stories. I think I myself might take up running. I've been thinking about it for long, but whenever I think 42 kilometers or 21 kilometers, I think that maybe let's give it some more time. I saw one calendar out there on the Big Dam Run website, which is more of a preparation calendar, preparation up to the leading up to the race. I found it really amazing, and I think that is something that can help a lot of people out there. It's really great. All of you should go and check it out if you're considering, trying to try your hand or your leg at running. You could go and check that calendar out, and it's really great. It's really helpful. Uh, and I'm sure about the offline to on. I think that initiative would help a lot of merchants out there, especially in these trying times. I think that is the need of the hour. And before we end, we at Astra believe that spreading happiness while securing businesses is super important. And one way in which we believe that one can spread happiness is by thanking all the people who helped us to get to where we are. So would you like to thank anyone as a closing remark, or like right from your early days to where you are right now, all the amazing things that you have been doing and you're doing right now? And you can name as many people as you want.
Certainly, my partner Susan Peterson has helped me innumerably to get me where we're at as a company. Vinay Kopp in the very beginning helped me with lots of coding things. Ben Marks, Sherry Rohde. I mean, there's so many people that I can't name them all. Vijay Galani has been fantastic. He's in Ahmedabad. He's been a great friend and partner in our business to help us keep moving forward. There's just too many people to keep listing.
I want to just add to that. I've been talking to Vijay. I've had like word with him a couple of times, and Vijay is an amazing person to talk to. I've never met him personally, but he's an amazing guy to talk to and really helpful. So next time when you're talking to him, please convey even my wishes to him.
Yeah, you should have joined us in Mumbai. We had a great conference, and next year, if we're allowed to have conferences, we're hoping to have more than 1,000 people. So
Okay.
it'll be really good.
I'll definitely be there at the next Meet Magento in India, and I planned to attend the next Big Dam, or if not the next one, the one following that. Amazing.
Great.
Thank you. Thanks a lot, and hoping to see you on the track soon. Have a great day.
Okay, thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.